In a world that often celebrates loud voices, rapid action, and the relentless pursuit of success, there is a quiet power that many overlook: the power of humility. What if the secret to unlocking everything you desire in life lies not in speaking more, but in learning to be still, to listen, and to embrace silence with humility? Today, inspired by the timeless wisdom of Dr. Maya Angelou, we explore how true strength emerges when we set aside our ego and open ourselves to growth, connection, and deeper understanding. This journey will challenge what you think you know about success, leadership, and personal fulfillment. Are you ready to discover why humility could be the greatest key to your life's abundance? In a world that is constantly rushing and demanding immediate results, the virtue of patience and the practice of stillness often get overlooked or undervalued. Yet, these qualities are among the most profound teachings in the pursuit of a fulfilling life. The message, God said, "Be silent. You will get everything in your life," resonates deeply with the timeless wisdom imparted by Dr. Maya Angelou, who understood that patience and stillness are not signs of weakness, but rather expressions of immense inner strength and trust. Patience is often misunderstood as mere waiting, a passive state of doing nothing. However, in the wisdom tradition, patience is an active and powerful practice. It is the conscious decision to remain grounded and composed amidst life's storms. Dr. Maya Angelou's life itself was a testament to this. Despite the many hardships, injustices, and challenges she faced, she cultivated a spirit that remained resilient and calm, knowing that each moment of struggle was a necessary part of a larger journey toward growth and fulfillment. Stillness, the companion of patience, is equally transformative. To be still means more than simply refraining from movement or speech. It is the deliberate act of quieting the mind and opening one's heart to the present moment. This stillness creates a sacred space where clarity and insight emerge. Dr. Angelou's writings and speeches often emphasized the importance of reflection, silence, and contemplation as ways to connect with one's deeper purpose and the universal rhythms of life. When God says, "Be silent," it is an invitation to embrace this stillness, not as a retreat or surrender, but as a powerful stance of faith. It is in these silent moments that we learn to trust the unseen forces at work, understanding that not all answers or results come immediately or through our constant effort. This divine silence teaches us that sometimes the best action is to pause, to listen, and to let life unfold on its own timeline. In the fast-paced demands of modern life, the temptation to rush, to fill every moment with noise and activity, is strong. Yet, Dr. Angelou's wisdom encourages us to resist this impulse. She reminds us that rushing often leads to missed opportunities and superficial understandings. Only through patience and stillness can we truly perceive the deeper meaning of our experiences, connect authentically with others, and nurture our own growth. The power of patience and stillness also fosters a profound form of self-respect and discipline. It teaches us to honor our own process and limits, rather than succumb to external pressures or impatience. Dr. Angelou's example shows how embracing patience allows us to navigate life's challenges with dignity and grace, rather than frustration or despair. She believed that there is a time for everything, and that each season of waiting holds its own lessons and gifts. Furthermore, this patience nurtures hope, a quiet confidence that what is meant for us will come. It removes the anxiety of forced outcomes and allows us to engage with life from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. Stillness becomes a sanctuary where we cultivate this hope and allow it to grow. The moments of silence become opportunities for healing, reflection, and renewal. In this sense, patience and stillness are deeply connected to faith. Dr. Angelou's wisdom reveals that faith is not simply belief without evidence, but a lived experience that emerges from the practice of waiting and trusting in the unknown. It is the trust that the universe, or God, is working toward our highest good, even when the path is unclear. This kind of faith requires courage. The courage to be silent when the world expects noise, to be still when others demand action, and to be patient when results seem distant. Moreover, the power of patience and stillness extends beyond the individual to our relationships and communities. When we embody these qualities, we create space for empathy, understanding, and deeper connections. Dr. Angelou often spoke about the importance of listening, not just hearing words, but truly listening with presence and care. Silence allows us to do this. It allows us to be fully present with others, to honor their stories, and to respond with compassion rather than reaction. This way of being also models for others the strength found in restraint and calm. In a culture often obsessed with speed and noise, demonstrating patience and stillness can inspire those around us to slow down, reflect, and approach life with greater mindfulness and intention. Ultimately, the power of patience and stillness is a transformative force that nurtures wisdom, resilience, faith, and compassion. It is a call to embrace the rhythm of life as it is, with all its uncertainties and promises. The words, "Be silent. You will get everything in your life," serve as a profound reminder that sometimes the greatest achievements and blessings come not through force or haste, but through the quiet strength of waiting and being present. In the flow of human interaction, one of the most profound yet often neglected virtues is the art of listening. The phrase, "God said, be silent, you will get everything in your life," beautifully aligns with Dr. Maya Angelou's timeless insight that true wisdom and connection emerge not from the quantity of words spoken, but from the quality of our listening. Listening is an active, intentional practice, far beyond simply hearing sounds or waiting for one's turn to speak. It is the foundation upon which understanding, empathy, and meaningful communication are built. Dr. Maya Angelou, through her poetry, speeches, and life example, emphasized the transformative power of listening. She taught that when we listen deeply, we create space for others to be seen and heard in their fullness. This act of presence is a powerful gift in a world where so many voices compete for attention and where distractions abound. Angelou's life reflected a profound respect for the stories and experiences of others, which she honored by truly listening with an open heart and mind. Listening over speaking is not about silence as mere absence of noise, but about cultivating an inner openness that allows us to absorb and reflect on what is shared. It requires humility, a willingness to set aside our own judgments, assumptions, and desires to control the conversation. In the words of Maya Angelou, "We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike." This profound understanding arises through listening, which reveals our shared humanity and common struggles. When God says, "Be silent," it can be interpreted as an invitation to prioritize listening above all else. This divine silence encourages us to stop rushing, to fill every moment with our own voice, and instead to attune ourselves to the voices around us and the quiet messages within. By listening carefully to other people, to nature, to our own intuition, we open pathways for insight and guidance that speaking alone cannot provide. Listening over speaking also cultivates deeper self-awareness. When we stop and listen, we give ourselves the opportunity to process our thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Dr. Angelou's reflections show that this inner listening is crucial for personal growth and healing. It allows us to understand not only others, but also ourselves on a deeper level, uncovering motivations and truths that are often obscured by noise and haste. Moreover, listening fosters respect and trust in relationships. It signals to others that they are valued and worthy of attention. This is especially important in professional and social contexts where genuine communication can lead to collaboration, problem solving, and harmony. Dr. Angelou's advocacy for civil rights and human dignity was rooted in her ability to listen empathetically to the voices of the marginalized and oppressed, amplifying their truths rather than imposing her own. In many ways, listening is an act of courage. It requires patience to sit with discomfort, to hear difficult truths, and to hold space without rushing to respond or defend. It calls on us to be vulnerable, exposing ourselves to the unknown and to perspectives that challenge our own. Dr. Angelou's legacy encourages us to embrace this courage, reminding us that real understanding comes from the willingness to listen without prejudice or interruption. The practice of listening over speaking also enhances our capacity for learning. In educational settings, workplaces, and community interactions, those who listen attentively absorb knowledge more deeply and respond with greater wisdom. Angelou's emphasis on lifelong learning and growth is closely tied to this quality of mindful listening, which allows us to adapt and evolve in response to new information and experiences. Furthermore, the silence that accompanies listening creates a sacred space for reflection and transformation. It is within this quietness that new ideas can emerge, misunderstandings can be resolved, and conflicts can be healed. Dr. Angelou's poetry often touches on the power of quiet reflection to inspire creativity and resilience, showing that silence is not emptiness but fullness, an active presence that nurtures the soul. By prioritizing listening over speaking, we also honor the interconnectedness of life. We recognize that every voice, every story, and every moment holds value. In this way, the act of listening becomes a spiritual practice, a form of communion with the divine and with one another. It aligns perfectly with the notion that in silence, as God instructs, all things come to fruition, not by our forceful declarations, but through attentive openness. Dr. Maya Angelou's wisdom teaches us that our voices have power, but that power is best wielded when balanced with the humility and grace of listening. This balance fosters deeper relationships, personal insight, and a harmonious existence. When we choose to listen before speaking, we allow ourselves to be transformed by what we hear and to respond with greater compassion and understanding. This principle applies across all aspects of life: personal, professional, spiritual, and communal. It reminds us that silence is not a void, but a fertile ground where respect, knowledge, and connection take root. Through listening, we gain access to truths that might otherwise remain hidden and develop the patience and empathy necessary to navigate life's complexities with wisdom and grace. Trusting the process of life is a profound and essential principle for navigating the uncertainties and challenges that define our human experience. The statement, "God said, be silent, you will get everything in your life," evokes a deep sense of surrender and faith in the unfolding journey that life presents. Dr. Maya Angelou's wisdom beautifully echoes this sentiment, reminding us that trust is not passive resignation, but an active, courageous engagement with life's rhythms, cycles, and timing. Life is rarely linear or predictable. It unfolds in ways that often defy our plans and expectations. Many individuals struggle with impatience or frustration when outcomes are delayed or when obstacles arise. However, Dr. Angelou's teachings encourage us to embrace trust in the process as a vital source of resilience and hope. Trust means recognizing that life's complexities, setbacks, and waiting periods are not meaningless, but integral parts of a greater design that is beyond immediate comprehension. To trust the process is to acknowledge that growth and fulfillment do not always manifest according to our own timelines or desires. It requires a surrender of control, allowing space for unforeseen opportunities, lessons, and transformations. Dr. Angelou's life, marked by perseverance through adversity, illustrates how trust enabled her to move forward, even in the darkest moments. She exemplified the belief that patience, coupled with trust, creates a fertile ground for success and healing. Moreover, trust in the process fosters an acceptance of uncertainty. In a world that often demands certainty and quick answers, this acceptance is revolutionary. Dr. Angelou's reflections suggest that uncertainty is not a threat, but a vital space where creativity, growth, and new possibilities emerge. By choosing silence and stillness, as the phrase suggests, we create room to encounter this uncertainty with openness rather than fear. Trusting the process also means having faith in one's own inner strength and wisdom. Angelou often spoke of the importance of self-awareness and self-love as foundations for navigating life's challenges. When we trust ourselves and our capacity to adapt and learn, we are better equipped to face setbacks without losing hope. This inner trust is bolstered by the willingness to be silent, not to react impulsively, but to reflect, gather strength, and respond with clarity. Additionally, trust in the process aligns with the natural cycles found in nature and the universe. Dr. Angelou's poetry and teachings often drew parallels between human experience and the rhythms of the earth. The changing seasons, the ebb and flow of tides, and the growth of a seed into a mighty tree. These natural processes remind us that transformation is gradual and often invisible beneath the surface. The silence and stillness of waiting are necessary for maturation and fruition. This perspective encourages us to view setbacks and delays not as failures, but as opportunities for deeper learning and preparation. Dr. Angelou's life story, marked by triumphs that emerged from struggle, embodies this truth. She understood that every challenge carries within it the seeds of growth, provided we have the patience and trust to nurture them quietly. Trust in the process also requires a relinquishing of fear of loss, failure, or the unknown. Dr. Angelou's wisdom calls us to confront these fears directly, embracing them as part of the human condition, rather than as obstacles to be avoided at all costs. Silence becomes a sanctuary where fear can be observed without judgment, and where courage can be cultivated in its place. Furthermore, this trust enhances our ability to remain present and engaged rather than distracted by worries about the future or regrets about the past. Dr. Angelou's teachings emphasize the power of presence, the ability to fully inhabit the current moment with awareness and gratitude. Through silence and stillness, we develop this presence, which grounds us in the reality of life as it unfolds rather than in illusions of control or certainty. Trusting the process also opens the door to spiritual growth. Dr. Angelou, deeply connected to themes of faith and transcendence, viewed life's journey as a sacred path. Silence, in this context, is not emptiness, but a form of communion with the divine or with the greater whole. Trust becomes an act of devotion, an acknowledgement that life's unfolding is guided by forces beyond the ego's limited understanding. In practical terms, trusting the process means embracing patience without passivity. It means continuing to act with intention and integrity, while allowing outcomes to manifest in their own time. This balance of effort and surrender is a hallmark of Dr. Angelou's approach to life. She demonstrated how one can be both proactive and patient, persistent and peaceful, determined and trusting simultaneously. This trust fosters resilience by helping us to see obstacles as temporary and to recognize that setbacks often precede breakthroughs. Dr. Angelou's narrative shows that trust in the process empowers individuals to maintain hope and motivation through prolonged periods of uncertainty or difficulty. Ultimately, to trust the process of life is to embrace a mindset that honors both the known and the unknown, the visible and the invisible, the action and the pause. It invites us to be co-creators with life rather than controllers, partners in a dynamic, unfolding story that requires faith, patience, and surrender to reach its full potential. Patience is one of the most profound and transformative virtues that humanity can cultivate. The phrase, "God said, be silent, you will get everything in your life," encapsulates the essence of patience, not merely as waiting passively, but as an active, conscious, and resilient endurance. Dr. Maya Angelou's wisdom shines a clear light on the power of patience as a force that enables individuals to navigate the complexities of life with grace, strength, and hope. In today's fast-paced world, patience is often misunderstood or undervalued. The prevailing culture frequently celebrates immediacy and instant gratification, encouraging people to seek quick results, rapid responses, and swift achievements. Yet, Dr. Angelou's teachings remind us that meaningful growth, lasting success, and true fulfillment rarely arrive through haste. Instead, they emerge through a sustained and patient journey where silence and stillness play critical roles in fostering insight, maturity, and resilience. The power of patience is rooted in its ability to cultivate inner peace amid uncertainty and delay. When life does not unfold according to our immediate wishes, impatience can breed frustration, anxiety, and despair. However, patience allows us to maintain calm and composure, even when the outcome remains unclear. Dr. Angelou's own life was a testament to this truth. Through periods of hardship and struggle, she demonstrated how patience acts as an anchor, grounding the spirit and preventing it from being overwhelmed by temporary setbacks or challenges. Moreover, patience fosters clarity of mind. By embracing silence and restraint, individuals create the necessary space to reflect deeply on their goals, values, and actions. This reflective capacity leads to wiser decisions and more thoughtful responses to adversity. Dr. Angelou's work as a poet, memoirist, and speaker reflected a mind sharpened by years of patient observation and contemplation. Her ability to articulate complex truths and inspire millions was rooted in a patient process of listening, learning, and growing. Patience also strengthens resilience. Life's difficulties often come in waves, testing our endurance and commitment. Dr. Angelou's wisdom teaches that patience is not passive acceptance, but an active, courageous stance that empowers us to persevere through trials. It allows us to endure hardship without losing hope or surrendering our sense of purpose. This form of patience nurtures strength by transforming obstacles into opportunities for growth rather than sources of defeat. Furthermore, patience is essential in cultivating empathy and understanding toward others. In interpersonal relationships, impatience can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and disconnection. However, when we approach others with patience, we grant them the time and space to express themselves fully, to grow at their own pace, and to be met with compassion rather than judgment. Dr. Angelou's commitment to social justice and human dignity was deeply informed by a patient willingness to listen to diverse voices and to support gradual, lasting change. The power of patience extends beyond the individual to the broader rhythms of life and nature. Dr. Angelou often drew inspiration from natural cycles, such as the changing seasons or the growth of a tree. These processes unfold in their own time, unaffected by human urgency or desire for control. Patience aligns us with these natural rhythms, reminding us that some things cannot be rushed without losing their essence or value. In this way, patience becomes a form of harmony, connecting us to the flow of life itself. Additionally, patience nurtures gratitude. When we wait patiently and remain open to the unfolding of life's gifts, we develop a deeper appreciation for the journey rather than just the destination. Dr. Angelou's reflections highlight how gratitude arises naturally from patience as we learn to recognize and cherish moments of growth, beauty, and connection that might otherwise be overlooked in the rush to achieve. In the spiritual dimension, Patience is often regarded as a virtue that facilitates alignment with a higher purpose or divine will. The phrase, "be silent," invites a surrender that is not resignation, but a trustful waiting, an openness to receive guidance beyond the ego's demands. Dr. Angelou's poetry and speeches frequently emphasize this spiritual patience. A faith that whatever is meant to happen will come in due time, and that silence is a sacred space where transformation begins. Patience also enriches creativity and innovation. Creative endeavors require time, trial and error, and periods of quiet incubation. Dr. Angelou's own creative genius was honed through years of persistent effort, reflection, and patience with the process. This illustrates that breakthroughs and moments of inspiration often emerge not from hurried action, but from the patient nurturing of ideas over time. In personal development, patience is crucial for overcoming self-doubt and fear. Change and growth are seldom instantaneous. Dr. Angelou's journey shows that patience with oneself, accepting flaws and setbacks as part of the learning curve, is a cornerstone of confidence and self-love. It enables individuals to keep moving forward without being derailed by impatience or frustration. Ultimately, the power of patience transforms silence into a source of strength. It teaches us to embrace waiting not as loss, but as an essential part of receiving. Dr. Angelou's legacy invites us to view patience as a dynamic force that empowers us to remain hopeful, resilient, and connected to the deeper currents of life. Humility is a foundational virtue that underpins true wisdom, growth, and meaningful human connection. In the context of the phrase, God said, "Be silent," you will get everything in your life. Humility invites us to recognize the limits of our control and understanding, encouraging a posture of openness, learning, and respectful silence. Maya Angelou's life and teachings eloquently illuminate the transformative power of humility, not as weakness or passivity, but as an active, courageous embrace of our authentic selves and our place within the larger human story. Humility begins with the acknowledgement that no matter how much knowledge, skill, or accomplishment we achieve, there is always more to learn and understand. Dr. Angelou's expansive career as a poet, activist, and educator reflected a continuous journey of self-discovery and growth, rooted in a humble awareness that wisdom is not static but ever evolving. This humility opened her to new perspectives, diverse cultures, and differing experiences, enriching her voice and enabling her to inspire others with authenticity and depth. Being silent, in the sense Dr. Angelou implies, requires humility because it demands that we set aside our ego's need for control and immediate expression. It asks us to listen deeply to others, to ourselves, and to the world around us with a receptive heart. This kind of listening is an act of humility, as it admits that we do not hold all the answers, and that true understanding arises from attentiveness and respect. In a society that often prizes loudness and self-promotion, embracing silence as a form of humility can be revolutionary, allowing space for reflection, empathy, and genuine dialogue. Humility also fosters stronger relationships. When individuals approach interactions with humility, they create environments where mutual respect and trust can flourish. Dr. Angelou's relationships with people across diverse backgrounds. Whether in her advocacy for civil rights, her mentorship of younger generations, or her artistic collaborations, were characterized by a profound respect for each person's dignity and story. This humility in engagement helped bridge divides and cultivate solidarity, demonstrating that humility is not isolation but connection. Moreover, humility is essential in leadership and service. Dr. Angelou's leadership was marked not by domination or arrogance, but by a humble commitment to justice, equality, and human dignity. She modeled how leaders who embrace humility listen to their communities, learn from their experiences, and prioritize collective well-being over personal gain. This approach challenges traditional notions of leadership based on power and control, suggesting instead that true influence arises from humility, compassion, and integrity. In the personal realm, humility provides a grounding force that helps individuals navigate success and failure with balance. Dr. Angelou's reflections often emphasized that humility protects against the pitfalls of pride and entitlement, reminding us that achievements are not solely our own, but are shaped by the contributions of others and by forces beyond ourselves. This recognition nurtures gratitude and a sense of responsibility, encouraging people to use their talents not for self-aggrandizement, but for the betterment of society. Humility also nurtures resilience. It allows individuals to accept criticism, learn from mistakes, and adapt in the face of adversity. Dr. Angelou's own life story, marked by personal hardships and societal challenges, exemplifies how humility can empower one to rise above difficulties without bitterness. Rather than clinging stubbornly to ego or defensiveness, humility opens the door to growth and transformation, turning setbacks into valuable lessons and opportunities for renewal. The spiritual dimension of humility is profound. Many spiritual traditions, including those reflected in Dr. Angelou's work, see humility as the recognition of our place within a larger cosmic order, a surrender of ego to the mystery and wisdom of life itself. Silence, then, becomes a sacred space where humility dwells, allowing us to connect with something greater than ourselves. This spiritual humility fosters peace and acceptance, creating a foundation for compassion toward ourselves and others. Additionally, humility is crucial in the pursuit of knowledge and truth. Dr. Angelou's intellectual curiosity was driven by a humble acknowledgement that understanding is a lifelong endeavor. Humility encourages openness to new ideas, critical self-examination, and the willingness to revise one's views. In an era where information is abundant, but wisdom can be elusive, humility becomes the guiding principle that helps us discern what is meaningful and true. In creative and artistic expression, humility allows for vulnerability and authenticity. Dr. Angelou's poetry and storytelling resonate deeply because they emerge from a place of humble honesty, acknowledging pain, joy in justice, and beauty without pretense or artifice. This humility invites audiences to connect with their own humanity and to embrace their own truths courageously. Humility also serves as a counterbalance to the excesses of individualism and competition prevalent in modern society. By embracing humility, we shift the focus from self-centered achievement to collective well-being. being, recognizing that our actions impact others and that we thrive in community rather than isolation. Dr. Angelou's advocacy for social justice and human rights reflected this communal humility, emphasizing interconnectedness and shared responsibility. Finally, humility fosters hope. It encourages patience with the process of change, whether personal, social, or global, by recognizing that transformation takes time and effort beyond any single individual's control. Dr. Angelou's life was a testament to this hope grounded in humility, a belief that by remaining open, patient, and respectful, we can contribute meaningfully to a more just and compassionate world. Embracing humility, as Dr. Maya Angelou's wisdom teaches us, is not a call to diminish ourselves, but an invitation to expand our capacity for learning, compassion, and resilience. It allows us to navigate life's complexities with grace, build genuine relationships, and lead with integrity that inspires. When we practice humility, we create space for growth and transformation, not only within ourselves, but also in the world around us. In that sacred silence, where ego quiets and openness begins, we find the true power to receive everything life has to offer. The path to fulfillment is not always loud or visible, but it is always profoundly real and deeply rewarding.